one shootout they had, which scared me.
What was that all about?
They were chasing this fella, and I can't remember what or why, but he didn't quit, and the sheriff's department was with him too. Didn't quit, and finally he hit a tree or something and went through the windshield under the hood. And then the guy started to shoot.
Oh, jeez.
So nobody was hurt. They took him, I don't know if you'd call it peacefully, but they took him into custody. And that was over.
Well, how did Bill break the news to you about the shootout?
Oh, he managed to tell me. Actually, it was written up in the paper.
So would you go on patrol after work? So would you get done with work at the telephone company? And then
Yeah, I'd come home and change, eat. And he'd stay out till midnight, 1 o'clock. If he was called out in the middle of the night, he'd go then too. Sometimes when there was an accident, both the telephone company would call him and the sheriff's department would call him to tell him about the accident because it's close by. So he'd handle the accident until the sheriff's department got there, and then he'd fix the pole that was broken into.
Did Bill ever tell you any of the funny stories of how, like I said, for us, I mean, that's our history, guy. I mean,
Right, things. We used our family car for a squad car.
what was the siren? You told us about the siren. Could you tell me about the siren?
The horn was a siren. And the light was, well, that was just a light that was on the dash that could be put up on top. And being we only had one car, I had to go to the grocery store, Sonny's, that was just down the hill and across the sea. And as I'm going down the hill, my neighbor woman was backing out, and I touched the horn just so she didn't come out. The siren went off. Scared me to death. Never used the horn again. That was it.
Oh.
That was
In 1967, when the city was looking at doing a full-time police department, that Bill had actually been approached to be the first police chief.
They did ask him to be the first police chief.
So how come he didn't become the first police chief?
He had too many years in the telephone company to give that up.
So he turned it down?
He turned it down. And at the end, we even moved to New Berlin. But he was still a constable of Muskego. I'd still get the phone calls because they had nobody to take over until the police chief took over.
So he was like he functioned as like the first, he was like the interim chief. He took until we got Chief Kraus.
If you'd call him that, I don't know, he felt he was still constable, right?
So they would still call him.
Yeah, oh yeah. We kept the same phone number, believe it or not.
Did he ever miss being a police officer?
I think he missed it. Yeah, I think he missed it. Actually, I kind of missed him when he was, because I went to every parade by myself with my 4 kids. And
Because he was probably in the parade.
he was either in the parade or directing traffic for the parade or whatever, but any parade of that nature or any doings of that nature, I had to go alone.
And I noticed you were gracious enough to loan the police department, which we're also going to have displayed at the police department, his badges and his patches
Right.
from when he was an officer.
And handcuffs from the old days.
The old handcuffs, yeah. Not the modern ones like we have today.
Right.
Did he have to buy all that stuff on his own?
I'm sure he did. I really can't remember, that so long ago.
One reason we're doing this segment is because our police department, we have a long, rich history. Our police department goes back to 1967. But when we look back, it was the constables that actually started the law enforcement spirit in Muskego.
True.
And I'd like to think that we go all the way back into the constables because they're part of our legacy too.
Absolutely.
And I heard they, as a constable, for all the time that he did dedicate to the city, he really didn't get paid as much as you'd think.
No, I think it was $1.60 an hour. And I think it was 7 cents a mile. He did not do it for the pay.
No, it was
He
definitely...
did it because he wanted to.
Well, thank you very much for sharing all this with us.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure talking to you.
And I think that's the one thing we really want to do, is we want to make sure that we don't forget where we came from, and the constables and their legacy of law enforcement in the city. That's our legacy too.